Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it is, I guess I don't have to tell you that. It's right at the, above there. I don't. I do have to tell you my name. Or I guess if I put my name in there, I wouldn't have to do that. Uh, what did I want to tell you? There was something. Oh, I'm not sure how you pronounce this. I got to find that site that I've used a few times in the past. Where it'll spell it, or it speaks it for you on the internet. If you don't know the correct pronunciation of something. And I have very strong reading abilities and capability to understand things. By understand, I mean, well, when I was a junior in high school, there was something called the National Scholarship Test. I have mentioned that, I don't know how many times, what the number of years that I've been doing this. I've mentioned it from time to time, that what happened to it. And I'm guessing that what happened to it was because when you took this, all the juniors in the United States took the test on the same day. And when the results were done, you got a computer printout for each student. And it, gave your thing in various, areas. And it compared you on the graph or whatever. You'd see, I think it was how you were doing at your school, and then how you did in your state, and then maybe something else like that. So there was a comparison of those things. Now, when I got mine in my junior year of high school, when I got it, and oh wow, Now, of course, I knew I wasn't very smart. Well, at that school, like I told you before many times in the videos in the past here, there were 4 homerooms each year, for each, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And so there were 2, for the year, there were 2 homerooms of smart kids, and then there was 2 of the dummies, 2 for the other students who didn't fit in that category. I was in the dummy class. But on the reading, and well, I looked at the thing and I thought, oh wow, there's like lines that went like that, and I looked at it, and then I thought, I wonder what this one where it goes way down to the bottom, like in the bottom 10%, and of course as I'm looking at this thing, that's what that means, bottom 10%. I'm in that, and then that was in math. I thought, well, yeah, that's right, And then I saw, well, I think then I looked at overall, so there was a thing for overall, how you, taking all these into consideration. And I was a little bit above the middle or average or whatever, and I thought, okay, that's, I can live with that, And then there was one that went all the way to the top, and I was in the top 5 or 10% for sure, all the way. This thing went all the way to the top. And that was in the ability, that was reading, but it wasn't just being able to read. And it wasn't just being able to read and understand what you're reading. What it took in was ability to read something and see, I'm not sure how they put it, but to see that, okay, no, this isn't correct. You know what I mean? It's, I could figure that type of thing out. And that really helped me in my life with things. Thank God, to make up for my other shortages. Of course, I got better in math for a number of reasons. well, I needed some, some math, and I needed, for 4 years, the wife and I, we had a tropical fish shop, and I was out there selling stuff, making change and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that probably had something to do with it. Um, so I was on that. That was the reason I was on that subject. um, Now this is something that uh, I found out about, and I forget how I found out about it. I'm sure it was on the internet, I think. And this is the not being able to draw up pictures or images or whatever. And people vary with this. I've only heard this mentioned on TV, I think, once, and it was in Space Force or whatever. That one, I think, they had one season of the thing, and there was a military, low rank, private or something, and he liked the general's daughter, the commander. She worked at I don't know, hot dog stand or something outside, and he kind of liked her, and then something came up, and he said, I can't, I can't see that, or I can't whatever, and then he said he used, Aphantasia. I don't think that's it, but he says, I have that, and she says, what's that? And he says, I can't see images. I can't call up images. And she's, what, And he says, well, are you able, to like close your eyes and see what somebody looks like, or what a car looks like, or what the colors of, or what? And she says, well, yeah. And he says, I can't. She says, well, yeah, you can. You just need, no, he says, I can't. I got this, and it's, so now I knew about this before that, but that's the only time I've heard it ever mentioned on television. I'm sure, and I did see some, because I talked about this before, and I put links to some sites that talk about this on the YouTube. Now that is a real, for me, and for other people who have it. By the way, my wife and I, we had 4 children, and our oldest, LaDonna, is really, really smart. I don't take any credit for that. She didn't get that from me, but she's really smart and talented. And I mentioned to her, I think that's when I was there for 2 weeks, I think. And now there's like a scale, of course, with this. Now some people, this is not an on and off thing. I mean, if it's off, it's off, and if it's on, whatever. But I think, I can't pull up anything at all. I could tell you, I could give you some examples of that, but several of them would make me, and I'm not. I've actually fought racism all my life. And I mean, fought it. And I'm talking about, me going against my department head or whatever, and doing grievances and everything else. But if I told you some of the examples of where this, you'd think that I was just racist. That's not it, not the case. But it is a big disability. It's a problem. Not being, especially working hospital or working security, that was a problem. But also I was a reserve police officer for, I don't know, 9 or 10 years or something like that. Not being able to, if you're chasing a car or if you're chasing somebody or whatever the situation is, if you can't, now if you're chasing somebody, don't close your eyes. You may get shot and killed or something, but when you're writing your report or when something comes up, not being able to pull up that information is a big disability. I made it. Nobody knew that I had that problem. I didn't know I had that problem for a long time. But when I told my oldest daughter, she was married then. When I told my oldest daughter about that, she said, "What?" Oh, now in my case, it is total. I can't pull up anything. Close my eyes. Okay, you want to say, like, think of, whatever you would, nothing, zero, nothing. Anyway, I told my oldest daughter about it, and she was like, "What?" And then she tested herself. Oh, by the way, so in this category, I see absolutely zero. Now, what was kind of strange when I was married, I can't remember the date. It was a long time ago. A long time ago. We've been divorced for 50, or 40 years, I think. I don't know exactly what the conversation was, but I said, "Well, would you want to?" I'm making this up because I can't remember what the thing was. It was like, "Well, would you want to see an Elvis Presley, movie or something like that?" And then she said, "Oh," she says, "No, I can just close my eyes and I can see Elvis Presley or whatever, and I can see myself dancing with Elvis Presley." Of course, the fact that she had polio when she was 5 and couldn't. But anyway, she could see that kind of stuff, and And then I don't think at that point, when it was later on that it really hit me that there was something. And anyway, my oldest daughter, who is very smart, and I'm not taking credit for that. I got some kids that are not smart, so. But then she told her husband. Now her husband is he's smart. He's smart. And he said, no, that's. And anyway, then LaDonna checked, and she is in the same category that I am. Close your eyes, nothing at all. They have a dog, the dog that they love, and she can, close her eyes and she can't see the dog. Now, of course, if you pet the dog and it has a spot on it someplace, or that's one thing, but you still can't see it. So it varies with people. Now, I knew there was a reason that I came to this subject. I've talked about it a little bit before. Now, I have had hearing loss since I was I must have had the hearing problem. I had a ear infection or something, rather. That must be it, I'm guessing. Because starting in of course, in the second grade, at school tested hearing, and I got another graph. And I was in second grade, and this is my hearing ability. And I was like, of course, I didn't say, "Oh shit," I was a good Catholic boy. But I looked at it and I thought, this is not good. And took it home, gave it to my parents. And now I flunked the second grade, by the way. So since I was going to the same school, I guess the second graders took another one of these things home the next year. My parents didn't do anything. And as I've said before about this, I don't blame them, because when I got to be 18 or 20 or whatever, and was working, a union job, working as a welder, making good money, and I didn't get married till I was 26, so, um, and I put some money away in stocks. I was interested in stocks for some reason, but no computers really then. I was having to just do it with note paper and whatever. And I accidentally invested in some good stocks. But back then, Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Finner, Smith, who this thing that when Bush was president, and when everything crashed, Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Finner, Smith went out of business, and others went out of business, but everybody, the business people, came out on top, like they always do, came out on top. And they did a lot of things wrong, which is what caused, the problems. Um, um, okay, why did I go on this vein? Oh, so, but the ex-wife or whatever, there's several times that things have come up, and in fact, I just mentioned it to her a while ago for some reason. I forget what it was that came up. And I said, I don't understand. This is the first time I think I've really said it to her. Because, well, she doesn't take criticism, or she doesn't take a lot of things, correctly. Because I said, I don't understand why when such and such happened, that you don't remember that. And she said, yeah, it didn't happen. I'd remember it if it did. That was, she says, well, I got excellent grades in school, and you didn't. I said, yeah, I did not. I went to summer school, and went to high school 4 years in a row. But I said, no, I'm not saying that you're dumb or stupid or anything like that. I'm wondering if, there's this Aphantasia with ability to pull see objects. I wonder if there's something that it does with some other area, like something unpleasant or something like that maybe. I said, oh, okay. And what I mentioned to her, I said, remember, this was, for some reason, I'd moved it in on her desk in the living room. So I guess it could be plugged in, to be all charged up, because my room is filled with stuff. I mean, filled with a lot of stuff. And so, an alarm goes off if power is lost to it, if you have that turned on, And so I was in here, and Darlene was at her computer in the living room. And she was there, and I heard her screaming. And I thought, what in the world, has happened? I got up and I went over there and walked up. She was on the computer, Well, she was off the computer then. And she says, turn it off, turn it. I said, turn what off? Turn it off, turn it off. I said, what are you talking about? I said, are you hearing something? Is there, what's the thing? She said, and actually, she was so, she wasn't giving me the information that I needed. I figured, okay, but it must be this thing here. But so this thing, the thing on it is loud. I guess, I've never heard it. It's fucking loud. And that's what was going on. Anyway, I didn't know which one, because I didn't want to mess with my daughter Hillary. Got me 2 of these things, and okay, that's not in this room now, but a solar panel, giant solar panel, because she wanted a giant one, which we can't hook up because we're in an apartment complex. Now this could be used like as a standby thing or whatever. But um, um, so I hit the button on it or whatever, and apparently I got the right one. I said, "Now do you hear it?" She said, "No." And then I tried to explain to her. I said, "Well, and then she doesn't, you know. I don't think she thought I deliberately set this thing off or something. And she just doesn't. Anyway, I've asked her a couple of times about mentioning this thing, and she just does not understand that I cannot hear that, you know, hear that sound at all. And I was standing like right next to it. So there are things. What I wondered is there something like this in this area here? I'm not talking about hearing the sound. I'm talking about it could be anything that certain circumstances that you do not remember that, because there have been several things that have come up that I don't see how she could not remember them, but she totally does not remember, does not remember them. So I wonder if there's something like that. I don't think I'm not sure this is in the same area, by the way, but back sort of at the beginning of, I think during when, not Reagan, but Bush was president, and they were doing it like, they were torturing people, and calling it enhanced interrogation. And oh yeah, and I was saying then, and it's back some, I'm not sure if it's on in these YouTube tapes or whatever. Maybe it was before that. When I was doing WordPress on there, so I don't remember. But, so then what I said was, I made several videos where I said, what they need to do, now I'm not saying, now I'm not saying that we take people like Republicans and that we, put them in a mental institution or a psychiatric place of some kind or something, and then we test them, I said, this is not Russia. We don't do those kind of things, Well, if Trump's elected, I guess we would, but I wasn't saying back. That's adding here, And I said, and what they should test those people, and then to show, hey, but then take these other people like me, like my oldest daughter, that are, liberal, want to help people, are not prejudiced. Of course, I think everybody's a little bit prejudiced. I've mentioned that in the past, about myself. And I said, I wonder, are there people predisposed to be a certain way? If it is, then, we got a problem. I mean, it's not a problem of, denying people the right to vote or whatever, those kind of things. Nothing like that. It's just, if people are a certain way, then you're gonna have to work at the problem if it needs to be fixed. I guess if you have people that are do-gooders, maybe, unless the anti-abortion people, on some of them, and a whole bunch of that group that would not do what I'm going to say would actually do that. But there were, and you have to be careful now. There are people in that group who have killed doctors, who are working at a Planned Parenthood or something like that. Planned Parenthood, by the way, does do, I guess, abortions, but they do birth control, I had at Planned Parenthood a vasectomy. So, they do a lot of stuff, and a lot of doctors like that were shot, by people who were, you know, uh, God's children or whatever. They were doing God's work, whatever. So I wasn't saying, find who these people are, and lock them up. I just said, it would be good to see, are there people like that and whatever. And then I came across, I think it was on YouTube that I first saw it. Maybe it was just on television, I can't remember. But a long time ago, they've done things. I'm not sure if that'd be sociology or what area that would fall in, but they did do testing on, and they found, that there is, groups, that there's a group that, um, um, and I'm not sure if they gave this example or whatever, but the way I saw it was, well, what they found was there are a large number of people, this would be in the Republican group, or the right wing or whatever, they don't like, people of a different color. They don't like people that come from a different country. They don't like people that speak a different language. Um, all these things. And then, of course, there's people that are not that way, that are, welcoming, And it boiled down to get these people, and I forget now the exact total reason that they gave, I'm not sure they have solved the whole problem or whatever, but it was interesting. And I'm not sure if they said it or if I just thought, oh, okay, back in, uh, times when people were living in caves or whatever, there was some of those people, they didn't go away from the cave, they stayed in the cave, and they didn't want anybody coming around their cave that was going to steal their fire or eat their food or, kill them or something. And then on the other hand, you had people who'd be like the good ones. That's what I'm joking. I'm not joking. Um, who, on the other hand, who would be at the cave, and then they would, hey, I wonder what's on the other side of that mountain. And, and so I wonder if that's, the DNA over time and whatever, if that somehow, would enter into, and that would explain part of the problem here in the United States, between the peoples we got. Because, now, by the way, I've changed my opinion. In earlier videos, in earlier years, I said, I'm a liberal Democrat. I believe I don't think there's anything wrong with socialism. And of course, I knew the other side, they think socialism is communism, because they're stupid and they can't understand it, but, and things like that. But I thought, then in that case, how do you handle the situation? But it's gotten worse here in the United States. It has gotten worse. And so then how do you deal with those people? And of course, those people can be saying, well, how do I convince these people, us, the good people? They're saying, well, how can I convince Jim Howard and his people like him, that it's all right to let foreigners come into your country, and that type of stuff. So that's something to think about. Oh, okay, back to this. When I told my daughter about this, and then she found out, woo, and she's the same thing I am. She has, zero ability to call anything up. She found out, of course, that well, anyway, as soon as I told her about me, And that's before she looked into it, or even, she told her husband, and that he's smart. Uh, he has a PhD. Of course, just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you're smart, but he's smart. When I was out there for those 2 weeks, I was telling him, he enjoyed, well, he enjoyed talking to me a lot, because I think that he's so smart that I think he might piss a few people off, That's what I'm guessing, and I don't know. But when my daughter found out that, you know, that she had it, when first it was, I told her about it, gave her the link or whatever, and she told him, and then he said, no, that doesn't, everybody can, call up images and do that kind of stuff. And I guess she's saying, well, my father says that he can. No, he can. And so then he told her, ask your father if he can dream, if he can, if he has, if he can have dreams. And then she told me that, and I had, I see something flashing. Where is that flashing coming from? Is that my mouse? No. I don't know what it is. Wait a minute. This is the keyboard. Okay. This is it, but it's not flashing. Okay, it is. Okay. So anyway, he said, ask him if he, and I said, no, I don't have, detail. Usually I don't have any kind of detail, but I do dream and whatever. He says, see, so he can call up, images or whatever. Nope, that's his opinion. But I think he may have changed his opinion because he's married to, LaDonna. And then one thing I said was, which would be kind of dangerous in a way with this, you ought to test, at someplace, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, at some place, people who are smart would know the best place that, to, what grade to test in. And then, and that would be the problem. If somebody who can't call up like an image, shouldn't be a police officer probably, or shouldn't be a security guard, And now maybe if it's, you would set the scale like me. No, you shouldn't, because I had to deliberately, once I realized that problem that I had to, that wouldn't be committed to an image that I could pull up. So I had to be thinking, okay, if I'm going to have to describe this person because he's going to run from me, and I have to, put it in a different kind of memory, but not pulling up whatever. But okay, I think in school you should test the kids and find out, because that's the problem. If you test somebody and, okay, they're like me, then you would probably lock them out from, well, we don't want that person to be a surgeon because he may need to, call up a view of, what he learned about how to fix a broken aorta or something, something. So so that would be bad if you are. And then people would use that, as a way to, disenfranchise people and things like that. So anyway, what else did I want to say? Computer here on my old Dell computer, it's working okay. And I fixed it. And for now, I'm worried about it because I don't have the money to turn around and buy a new, computer. And I'd really like to have I'd like to have an Apple, you know, what do they call it? Tablet or not tablet? iPad? Is that it? Whatever it is. But I'd also like to have, but I don't, I'm at, 82 years of age. If I got a really pretty impressive, powerful PC, I wouldn't get around to, I would die before the computer probably would, like, so. Let's see, how long have I been talking here? Okay, I can't remember right now where the timer is. There it is, 36 minutes. Okay, I think I probably gave you something to think about. Oh, wait a minute, there was something else I wanted to, about. Yeah, I guess not. Because there again, that's what I wanted to use as an example, but no matter what I say, you're going to say, oh, okay, you're prejudiced, And nobody called me that or anything, but somebody might have thought that, and I was not, but that would be the first, I think the first thing you jump to that conclusion or whatever. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.